Hi, I'm Amber Mack, and welcome to my newsletter live. It is Tuesday, and like every Tuesday, we send out a newsletter in the morning. And every few weeks, we have some time where we like to go through the most clicked articles within the newsletter. This is probably my favorite part of the newsletter. I love digging into the data to see what stories you really love. I think it tells a lot about what people are interested in right now, and it gives us a better sense in terms of how to make the next issue even better. We are streaming this across multiple platforms. So we are streaming on Facebook, and I have the comments over here, also on LinkedIn. So I'm going to say hello here, and also on Twitter or Periscope as well. So hello to everyone. We are going to dive into the top 5 links, the most popular stories in the newsletter today. We encourage you to share your comments, and you may see them on the screen. I also wanted to mention, like all things we tend to do here, we like to experiment with things, and we wanted to try something a little bit different this time around. Chris is often behind the camera, and I thought it would be sort of fun if maybe I interacted with him a little bit. Hello, Chris.
I don't know if I like this or not. And who's doing live subtitling? That's new.
So Chris is not too sure he wants to be part of the show, but please encourage him in the comments. If you think it's a good idea, please let us know. I see on Facebook right now, Chris just brought up a comment from Lee, here from Oklahoma.
Oh, I thought he was just here from okay. He's like, I'm here, okay.
Here from OK. Vern is here as well, and Chuck, and then I will just check in across the other platforms to see on LinkedIn. Dan is here. Dan Haddad, hello to you as well. Congratulations on a great event on Saturday with Sinai Live. You guys did an awesome job, and so excited to report that there was more than $60,000 raised. So pretty incredible. An amazing accomplishment.
Nice work.
Goes to frontline workers, of course. So welcome, everyone. So Chris, first of all, I know you haven't really been involved in any of these broadcasts, and you're not so happy about this. And I should say that Chris is not only my partner at Amber Mack Media, but my partner in life. So this means that we have been in isolation together, working together, and I think it's been amazing. Chris, do you want to share your feelings?
So... yeah, I'm playing some sound effects right now, which you won't find out until after the show, but thank you for wanting to talk to me yet again, the only time of the day where we don't actually have to talk.
Oh boy. Okay, so Sophie says, you like it, Chris. So you have some fans in the comments as well. Okay, so let's get right into it. The top 5 stories from the newsletter. You liked lots of the stories today, but there's one that really came out on top, and this is probably not too surprising. It is an article from Wired called How to Use Your Phone to Declutter Your Life. And essentially, it is a recommendation of a few smart apps and how you can use them to really get rid of clutter in your home. Now, I will say that there is a focus in this article on a lot of Google products, which is cool by me because I use a lot of Google tools as well. They say in terms of going paperless, if you want to declutter, you should use Google Drive. A lot of people don't know this, but of course, there are many ways with your phone that you can scan paper documents and you can store them in the cloud. So if you have a little bit of extra time on your hands these days, you may want to give that a whirl. I hesitate when I say that because I know a lot of people don't have extra time. In fact, I think we're busier than ever, especially with kids at home. So I definitely respect that. But at the same time, I know we're probably in our homes more than we're used to being in our homes. And this article has some really good tips as far as what you can do. It also talks about places you can go to sell your stuff. They say junk, but I'm going to say stuff. They recommend, of course, going online to Facebook, to the marketplace there. They also have some good recommendations for eBay and recommending both the Android and iOS app, as far as some of those more expensive items that you may want to get rid of and sell. This is particularly good for electronics, and maybe I'll do a broadcast later on about how to sell some of those electronics you have around your house. And then finally, they talk towards the end about staying organized with lists and documents. They recommend Google Keep on Android devices. It's also for iOS devices, and Notes that is built into iOS devices. So perhaps I will leave you with a question here, and that question is, What type of apps are you using right now to declutter, to stay organized? Maybe you're not using any, and that's okay too, but what do you find that you are gravitating towards? Please let us know in the comments, and we will share that with you. I see on Facebook that Ron Kaplan has joined. Thank you for joining the broadcast. I'm going to duck back over to LinkedIn, and Dave Gordon says hello as well. So I have that up on the screen, and eventually I will get to Periscope and Twitter, but there's a lot going on. So happy I can at least get to a couple of those destinations. So the second article I want to talk about, and this is an interesting one, and I'm going to bring Chris in on this because you may think this is the most boring conversation between a couple in the world, but we did have a conversation about unused parking lots and how perhaps they could be creatively used during this time of crisis when we have to practice physical distancing. And I came across this article that talked about just this. But first, Chris, what do you think?
I am all for skate parks everywhere. Get rid of the cars and keep the wheels, just pedal power, foot power. I'm all for it.
Well, what's really interesting when you look at this article, which is the second most popular article in the newsletter today, the article is from The Hustle, and the title is, Will COVID-19 Change the Parking Business? And this is fascinating. I actually spoke at a parking conference a couple of years ago, and I quite enjoyed it. What's interesting now is that the demand for parking is down 90%, probably not a big surprise. And across the U.S. in particular, that's what this article is talking about. Entrepreneurs are looking for new ways to repurpose empty parking lots. So the article dives into the parking economy and what a lucrative economy it has been, but then talks a little bit later on in the article about how potentially these parking lots could pivot and be available for new things, new destinations in terms of places where maybe where people could pick up deliveries or places where they could get testing for COVID-19. It really runs the gamut as far as different things that these parking lots are being used for.
Well, I'm always amazed every time I go out east of Toronto. They built a giant 6-story parking garage for the GO train, which is the commuter train in and out of the city, and that's fantastic. But it always shocks me that the very first floor of that is also parking, and it's not. It's not retail. It's not an M&M Meats. It's not a shoe cobbler. It's not a place to get like cigarettes and pizza. I mean, it just boggles the mind that that first floor wouldn't be retail. And now that for the foreseeable future, we have less demands of cars, I look at multi-story car parks and I can immediately not only just see skateboard parks, but indoor, partially covered basketball, recreational facilities. What about socially distancing your farmers markets throughout the year, throughout there, and also having rock climbing inside of it. There's a number of things you can do with a covered structure that's sort of exposed to the elements that gives much more value than just parking your car there. But then that increased costs, and it gets rid of and it increases overhead for the people who are making money hand over fist by just taking essentially money for free.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I mean, I think there are going to be some creative ways that people are repurposing these parking lots, especially as we look in urban areas for more space for physical activities, opportunities for kids to get out. I was just thinking to myself, and I am by no means an expert in urban planning, but imagine the possibilities if there were empty parking lots where you could take your kids there, they could bike around maybe a track where they had to stay a certain distance from people. I don't know what the answer is, but I do believe that now is the time to really think creatively, because at the end of the day, I think it's going to be hard throughout the summer to keep everybody in their homes. And in urban areas, especially like downtown Toronto and Montreal and Vancouver, we need more space. So I do hope that city officials get really creative and come up with some new ideas. Hello to Cindy Bunn, who just logged into the Facebook feed. Welcome to our broadcast. If you are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, please let us know where you are watching from. That's one of our favorite parts of doing these broadcasts, understanding the audience that we have and answering any questions you may have. Also happy to answer tech questions, I will say. We're game for that as well. Okay, so the third article was getting a lot of attention, and I don't think that Chris has seen this. Before I get to this, I want to mention a comment Chris brought up. The farmers market idea is a great one. Rain or shine, make it happen. Thanks, Steve. Chris will appreciate the support in the comments. Okay, I have never heard of this before, and I was excited to share it in the newsletter today because we know many people are having Zoom fatigue right now, where they're tired of being on Zoom calls and talking all the time. But what about this new trend, which is silent Zooms? So these are potentially, as this article from The Guardian says, are golden for focusing the mind. The idea being that these are places not to go to have conversations, but that you can go to focus on your writing, your reading, meditation among a group of people to help you keep focus. You announce what you want to do at the beginning of that silent Zoom. And then you are able to sit there with the virtual support of other people and accomplish your task. Chris, be nice.
I think it's awesome. All this is doing is lending the idea of accountability, because when you go to a coffee shop, you're not really going to sit there and cruise your emails all day long when you're supposed to be, or you think you're supposed to be working on the next great American novel, and people can see your screen, so that gives you a little bit of accountability. This is doing the same thing. I love it, although it raises the question, if you Zoom and nobody hears you, are you really Zooming?
That's a good point. I definitely agree with you. Now I'm going to move on because I said there was only going to be 5 stories we talked about today, but buried in this article there is another link that touches on what Chris and I were just talking about. And it was a recommendation in the article to a service that my friend Andrew just wrote me about, and I had never heard of it before. It's called Focusmate, and what's really cool about Focusmate, it's the same idea as these silent Zooms, in that you are meeting with someone. It would be, in this case, a virtual work buddy, and you would establish what you wanted to achieve during this video conversation, and it would almost be like having a virtual coworker beside you, and you worked with them for 50 minutes on separate tasks. But the idea being, based on what they've discovered, is that the people who are already using Focusmate have realized a 95.5% increase in productivity and reduced procrastination. Now, Chris has his own person nagging him at home, which is me, but I do think this is really interesting from a psychological standpoint, that even just that mere virtual presence, Chris, encourages us, like you say, to accomplish more.
You'd like to think so, yeah.
I do like the idea. So they're saying that this community is for side hustlers, freelancers, home-based business owners, virtual workers, writers, entrepreneurs. I think we're going to hear a lot more about this. People are craving to have conversations with other people, and I suspect in this climate that a service like this could do well. So again, it's called Focusmate, and I just thought it was an amazing coincidence that we included in the newsletter, and my friend Andrew had asked me about it, I think, yesterday. So it appears to be one of those services that is on the rise. Sophie Billsdale, Chris might have seen this comment already, says, what if everybody just mutes themselves and does no work in the virtual silent Zoom?
I like it. That's my style. I'm calling that one first.
That is possible. I think I could see that happening as well. So keep the comments and the questions coming. The last story that was getting a lot of attention in the newsletter was the Mother's Day blog post that we put up from my site, and I was happy to see this make the top 5. We've been doing lots on Mother's Day, so if you follow me on social media, you've seen all the links, the Facebook Live, in the newsletter you saw all of the items we talked about, and it's been an excellent campaign that our team has put together. Thumbs up to them. They've done a great job, and you can check it all out at ambermac.com. Some Mother's Day ideas here, and you can scroll through the list over on my website. So pretty straightforward in terms of the different items and recommendations. And of course, I know people are thinking, well, with technology, how do you actually go into the store and buy tech? Many of these places will allow you to order online, or with Best Buy as one example, you're able to do storefront pickup, and you can go to bestbuy.ca and arrange for pickup at a nearby store. So hopefully I have a chance to check that out. And also, if my mom is watching right now, Happy Mother's Day. I hope you enjoy your gift. There's 2 parts. You've already received one, and there's another on the way. So hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. Okay, so I'm just looking into the LinkedIn comments, and I know we won't have access to put these on screen, I don't think, Chris, but there's quite a few. A couple coming in here.
Let's take a look at that one right there.
Oh, yeah, good. Chris is the highlight of the show today. He's
Thank
very
you, Irving.
particular about what comments he's putting up. I appreciate that, though, I guess. Irving, thank you for that. Lewis says, listening. Thank you for joining in. And Kenneth says, deliverables, focus work, daily attainable work schedule. Those are the type of things when we talk about doing these virtual meetings that I think that environment can help for people who do need that encouragement, even if it is in a remote manner. So thanks to the people who are watching on LinkedIn who have tuned in as well. So if you tuned in and we were in the middle of this live broadcast, don't worry, you can go back to the beginning. Essentially, this is a very loose format for us, and the idea being that we go in after the newsletter has been sent out, or I go in, I should say, and I love to look at all the data and understand the top five most clicked items, and it's a good read into what you are reading, and I enjoy that. And this time we thought we would try things out with Chris also jumping in, just like Gelman.
Bit of a mistake, I think.
Let us know in the comments if you want more of Chris or less of Chris, and we will try to keep that up. James Scott Goldie on Facebook says, a nice photo of a panda behind you, and maybe I'll let Chris tell that story, because that is not a photo, that is something that our son painted.
Yeah, you go ahead, you were there.
Yes, so our 11-year-old, I believe that he did this when he was maybe 9 at Paint Lounge in Leslieville.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a cool painting that he did. It's one of our favorites, and we have hung it up here in our little home studio. So thank you, James. We will pass on the good compliment. Our son right now is doing virtual school, and it's kind of fascinating because he's also doing a virtual co-curricular program that they have at his school. So I believe he's doing origami right now, and I'll make sure to take some pictures of that a little bit later on. Okay, we are going to wrap up for the day. I didn't get to many of the Twitter comments or questions, but I'm glad I got to say hello to people watching on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'll get to Twitter next time. And Emma says, more Chris. We'll see. As long as we're in quarantine, that's as good as it's going to get for me. So you might get more Chris. And that could be okay.
Yeah, we'll see what the public says.
We'll see what the public says. Okay, thank you for watching. Also, if you don't subscribe to my newsletter, there are no strings attached, but we would love to have you as one of our subscribers. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers, and that's a goal that our team is really excited about getting to over the next few months. So please head on over to ambermac.com/newsletter, and every week you will get a newsletter that is filled with helpful tips. We even have a section on artificial intelligence. We have lots of app recommendations, technology recommendations, security updates, and of course it's all for free, no strings attached, and we really just want to help out every single week. So appreciate you signing up if you haven't had a chance to do so, and I'll drop the link into these different platforms when we get off this broadcast. Okay, most importantly, because I know that this is a really tough time for so many people, I hope that you are watching and you're safe at home. If there's any way that I can help you with any tech in your lives or any business advice, if you're running a small business and trying to figure out how to navigate things during this difficult period, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we would be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Chris for joining us. Any final words, Chris?
No, I'm going to jump into the YouTube thing and see if it's working now. So if I'm slow, that's why. I'm busy working back here.
Chris is doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Okay, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.